write the equation of the line. We know that we want it in the form of y equals mx plus b, with the m being the slope and the b being the y-intercept. So, first of all, I'm going to find my slope. To find my slope, remember that it's the change in y over the change in x. The formula said y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So, my points. This point here is at 0, 0. This point over here is at 7, negative 7. So the y value from point 2, negative 7, minus the y value from point 1. Negative 7 minus 0 is negative 7. The x value from point 2 minus the x value from point 1, so 7 minus 0. 7 minus 0 is 7. We said if we had the graph, we could count the slope. We went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 down, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 to the right. 7 down and 7 to the right. Of course, we want to simplify that. A negative 7 over 7 is just negative 1 for my slope. My y-intercept, where does it touch the y-axis? Well, I happen to have it circled from that point. It touched the y-axis at 0. The y value is 0 of that point. So my b value is going to be 0. So plugging those two things into my equation, y is going to equal negative 1x plus 0. Of course, we want to simplify that. This one actually has two things you can do. Negative 1x is just negative x, and we really don't need plus 0 on the end, because if we add 0 to something, it doesn't change its value. So in the best form, y equals just a negative x. Most of them you can't do too much simplifying to. This one just happened to have both things you could do. So a negative 1x is just negative x, and then we don't need plus 0. Number 5 then, writing the equation of the line, y equals mx plus b, starting by finding my slope, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So I would start on the left. My first point is at negative 5, 6. And my second point is at 0, 4. So finding my slope, 4 minus 6. 4 minus 6 would give me negative 2. And 0 minus a negative 5. 0 minus a negative 5. When I subtract a negative, I end up adding. And 0 plus 5 is 5. Checking my slope, I went down 2 and over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exactly what I did. So we know y is going to equal negative 2/5 x. Make sure that x goes behind that fraction, not down on the bottom with the 5. Then I've got to find my y-intercept. My y-intercept, where is it touching the y-axis? It's touching at 4. So plus 4. So y equals negative 2/5 x plus 4 is the equation of that line. Number 6, same kind of thing. I'm going to start by finding my slope. So the coordinates of my 2 points, negative 5, negative 5. And this one is at 0, negative 1. So y2 minus y1. Negative 1 minus a negative 5. Since that's subtracting a negative, negative 1 plus 5 gives me 4 on the top of that fraction. I went 1, 2, 3, 4 up. Exactly what I did. 0 minus a negative 5. Again, I'm subtracting a negative, so I change it to adding. 0 plus 5 is 5. So I went up 1, 2, 3, 4 and over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's exactly what I did. So when you have that graph there, you can always check and make sure you're doing the slope formula correctly by counting. So y is going to equal 4/5 x, and then finding my y-intercept. My y-intercept, my numbers are kind of smushed together there, but my y-intercept, where it touches the y-axis, is at negative 1. And again, we're not going to do plus a negative 1. We're just going to put minus 1 on the end. And so y equals 4/5 x minus 1 would be the equation of my line. Now we're going to write